We begin this morning with big steps into the final frontier.
SpaceX successfully launched the first all-civilian space crew into orbit last night.
Inspiration 4.
Copy, 1 Alpha.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
The Inspiration 4 crew lifted off shortly after 8 p.m. Eastern for their historic mission from Cape Canaveral. They're now circling the planet at more than 17,000 miles an hour. The team will spend the next 3 days nearly 360 miles above ground, higher than the Hubble Space Telescope and the International Space Station. No American has been this far into space in more than a decade. Here to talk about the mission's success so far and what it means for the future of space travel, NBC News correspondent Cal Perry, who was there for the launch, and Mike Massimino, former NASA astronaut, a professor of mechanical engineering at Columbia University and the senior advisor for the space programs at the Intrepid Museum. Cal, let's start with you. You were at the Kennedy Space Center. You were there when it lifted off. How did it go, and how are things going now?
You know, it went as far as we can tell, and unless they tell us otherwise or give us new information, it went flawlessly. The launch was on time. The newest 4 astronauts are in orbit now around the planet, which is really stunning when you consider that this is not only a private flight, but that these are 4 civilians, that there is not a professional astronaut amongst the group. It speaks to the technology that SpaceX is using. This is an automated flight. That is, it shouldn't need any piloting from these 4 civilians. The idea is, of course, to open the door for future space flights for folks like you and I. A lot of the testing that they'll be doing there is just standard testing on the human body to see how the heart, to see how blood reacts, so that one day, Joe, hopefully ordinary people like you and I can get on a flight here in Florida, go into space, go around the Earth for 3 days, splash back down in the ocean, which is what the plan is, without having to pilot the orbiter at all. Joe?
And hopefully without having to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, Cal, now, unlike a NASA launch,
too, yes.
the goal with these rockets and the capsules is to be able to reuse them. That poses some serious logistical challenges, right?
Absolutely, and this is what would hopefully prevent it from being hundreds of thousands of dollars. When they can reuse these rockets, they're saving an enormous amount of money. It's less than sort of $30 million now per launch with these rockets, down from 60 or 80, and you can see how when they cut those costs, it makes a big difference. Look, they land these on drone ships offshore. It is absolutely incredible. It was amazing to see that rocket come back down from the atmosphere and then land on that drone ship. That is how they recover them. They then reuse those rockets. They also reuse the actual capsule that these 4 individuals are flying in. That capsule has been to the International Space Station before. So it is, again, this reusable equipment that is able, they hope at least, to sort of keep those costs down, guys.
All right, so Cal, we know they're out there right now. What's next? What will the end of this mission look like?
Yeah, so they're going to be running those tests, like I said, those medical tests. They've probably been around 7 times now, which is crazy. They went off sort of 12 hours ago. About every 90 minutes or so, they will make one full orbit. The plan is hopefully on Saturday they'll land in the Atlantic, splashing down what they hope will be in calm seas. And that was one of the tricky things about the launch. It wasn't just the window for the launch as far as weather. It was also that weather window when it comes to them landing here in the Atlantic on Saturday.
A little harder to predict. All right, Cal Perry, thanks so much for your reporting. Appreciate it, Cal.
And now to our NASA alumnus, Mike Massimino. It's always good to start off your morning with an astronaut. Mike, thank you so much for being with us. All right, so we've talked a lot about history being made in this billionaire space race, but this is different. This Inspiration 4 crew is now actually orbiting for days. They're staying up there. So you've been up there. Tell us, what are they going to experience? Do you have any hints, tips, tricks?
Well, they're not going. Thanks for having me, Savannah and Joe. They're not going to a destination like the space station or the Hubble Space Telescope. They're going to be in orbit, which means they'll be weightless the entire time. They're going to be doing some experiments. I think the coolest thing they'll be doing is that they have a window at the top. Since they're not going to dock to the space station, the docking mechanism, which is usually at the top of that spacecraft, is not there. It was taken out and replaced with a cupola window. So they'll have a great view. And the altitude that they're going to is similar to where we went at Hubble, about 100 miles higher than the space station. From that altitude, you can see the curve of the planet. It's truly a magnificent view, and they'll have a great window to look out of and take photos. and enjoy that experience. But they're probably right now getting used to what it's like to be in zero gravity, which isn't always all that easy. Your body goes through a lot of changes. You might not be feeling all that well. And so that's what I think maybe is going on right now, but that should quickly subside after a good night's rest.
And then they've got that nice view and 3 days of weightlessness. And these quick trips we've seen, everybody talks about those few seconds and how wonderful it is. So that's exciting for them.
Just a couple minutes on these. Just a couple minutes on they went to orbit on this one. It's a lot different, a lot more power, a lot more energy required.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Mike, what do you think and what do you make of this new era of space tourism, space exploration? I mean, you're an astronaut. You've gone through those tests and got that seemingly impossible job to get. And now people can just kind of head up there potentially. What do you think of that?
I think it's great. For me, I really wanted that job. I had that job for 18 years, to be a United States NASA astronaut, and following in the footsteps of my heroes, Neil Armstrong and all the other astronauts that came before me. I wanted that. I wanted to do that full time. This is opening up opportunities for people who have other careers and can go and dedicate a few months of their lives to get ready for this and then experience what it's like to go into space. What I'm really excited about is that now that the access is opened up or continuing to open up in ways we couldn't even imagine, it allows creative people who are not career astronauts. I mean, I more or less did what I was told. I worked as hard as I could to become an astronaut, and then you fit into the NASA program, and it was about exploration and science and engineering and doing things for the country and for the world in a certain way, using mainly science and technology to explore and understand the world and the universe around us. Now they're able to, with other private citizens going now, they're able to use their creative juices to come up with ways to go and to utilize space in ways that I wouldn't even imagine. I mean, this mission is benefiting St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which is a great charity to support. Wonderful place. Haley, one of the astronauts on board this mission, was a patient there as a child, got inspired to become a physician's assistant and works there now, and she's going off on this space mission to raise awareness about the hospital and to raise money for the hospital. That's pretty cool, doing that. And that's something that can only be done in a private mission. So I'm waiting to see what other people come up with.
Yeah, that's a great point. It is pretty cool. She is such an inspiration, and we will be watching over these few days. Mike Massimino, so great to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
An alarming new study is raising concerns about COVID and pregnant women. The report, published last month in the Journal of the American Medical Association, says pregnant women with COVID are 15 times more likely to die than uninfected pregnant women. They're also at a higher risk for pregnancy complications like preterm labor or stillbirths. Despite these daunting numbers, only 25% of pregnant women are vaccinated. NBC News correspondent Heidi Presbella joins us now from Washington with a closer look at this. Heidi, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Yeah, they really are among the lowest rates of any group. But now evidence is mounting that COVID can cause significant complications in pregnancy. And behind those numbers are some pretty heartbreaking stories. I want you to meet Vanessa. She's a Missouri nurse who started out with what was really a mild case of COVID.
We had just started getting the room ready and painted and got all the clothes out. And
in November 2020, Vanessa Alferman was counting down the days to the birth of a baby boy when she learned she had COVID.
I had I call it a bad sinus infection, cough, and flu all in once. So I just thought, this is a mild case.
But soon after getting sick at 22 weeks pregnant, Vanessa went into preterm labor. Her baby died. The result, doctors said, of a placental abruption caused by COVID.
You get pregnant and you have this goal and this dream. It was taken away. It was complete devastation.
Growing research points to the potentially devastating impact of COVID on pregnancies. A study published last month by the Journal of the American Medical Association found pregnant women with COVID are 15 times more likely to die and 22 times more likely to have preterm births than those who are uninfected. And just last week, the state health department in Mississippi announced it's identified 72 stillbirths among women with COVID since the pandemic began, more than double the pre-pandemic rate. In Vanessa's case, she wanted to get the COVID vaccine while pregnant, but it wasn't yet available to her. But many pregnant women are making conscious decisions not to get vaccinated. According to the CDC, as of mid-August, 75% of pregnant women were unvaccinated, many citing concerns for how the vaccine could affect their babies.
I have not had the vaccine.
Stephanie is one of them. The mom-to-be asked that we not show her face out of fear of backlash for her decision to remain unvaccinated.
I'm not anti-vax. I get the flu vaccines. This one just feels a little different to me. You spend your whole pregnancy doing everything that you can to protect the baby. You can't change cat litter. You can't eat lunch meat. So injecting all these chemicals into your body is a little scary.
But obstetricians like Dr. Ebony Carter insist the best way for a mother to protect an unborn child is through vaccines.
The answer to when should I get vaccinated is like yesterday. Like the protection for you and for the baby is amazing.
Vanessa says her life is forever changed. Her mission now? To remind moms to be everywhere that even mild cases of COVID can prove catastrophic.
I'll never get over losing him, never. But just knowing that his life might save someone else is what I go for.
And Dr. Carter, Joe, she's not Vanessa's nurse, but she said she is seeing way too many Vanessa. She was just coming off the ward when I spoke with her, and she said, look, instead of having discussions about what should be these women's happiest day of their life, I'm having horrific discussions, including about possible end of life, because the complications here are not just to the baby, but to mom. Joe?
All right. Such an important issue, Heidi. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Let's now bring in Dr. Anand Swaminathan. He is an assistant professor of emergency medicine at St. Joseph Health. Doctor, good morning. It's always great when you join us. Now, pregnancy and fertility seem to continue to be this concern from people who are saying that they don't want to get the vaccine. And I think at first there was some confusion over if pregnant women should get it while we held off and waited for research. And then there's also, of course, been so much misinformation. And given the fact that this is such an emotional decision, what is your message for a woman with concerns related to this?
This is probably the easiest question that we can answer. There is absolutely no data that tells us that there's any impact on fertility with these vaccinations. And we now have a really robust amount of data telling us that these vaccines are extremely protective for pregnant women, that pregnant women are a high-risk group for COVID. And the best way to protect the fetus is really to protect the mother. That's what we know time and time again when it comes to obstetrics. If we protect mom, we do the best job of protecting the fetus, of protecting the pregnancy. So vaccines, absolutely 100%, every pregnant woman should be getting them. Get them before you get pregnant, fine. If you're pregnant already, get it now.
Doctor, let's talk about boosters. We've got new Moderna data to look at this morning. We should note the analysis has not been peer-reviewed yet. It was released yesterday suggesting COVID immunity from the Moderna vaccine starting to wear off in people that got it earlier in the year. What do you make of this information? How might it play into the FDA decision to approve booster shots?
What I think we have to really understand is what we're trying to accomplish with boosters and what the pharmaceutical companies are trying to accomplish with boosters. Their priorities are not the same as ours. Our priorities are to protect as many people as we possibly can from severe infection. And these vaccines, whether it be J&J, Moderna, Pfizer, they are miraculous in the protection that they offer to people. A primary series, 2 shots, is extremely protective against serious infection, even 6 or 8 months out of that vaccination. And we see time and time again that every study tells us that. Now, what we are seeing is some waning immunity, meaning that you can get some infection. You can get symptomatic, or you're more likely to get a symptomatic infection, but you're not more likely to get a serious infection. And that really should be our focus. And in order to really try to control this pandemic, we have to get that primary vaccine series to as many people as we possibly can. And that means focusing not on boosters, but on vaccinating everybody, both within the United States, but also abroad. We want to stem the tide of variants popping up, of the possibility of a variant that really can evade our vaccines. We have to get these vaccines around the globe and get the rest of the world as vaccinated as we possibly can to protect everybody. So right now, universal boosters, they're simply not needed. This 6 or 8 months out, these are artificial numbers that we really don't need to be focused on. There are specific groups that can benefit, and we'll see that come out more, but universal boosters are simply not necessary.
All right, Dr. Anand Swaminathan, so good to see you. Thank you so much.
Let's get a check on your morning news now. Weather.
Bill Cairns joins us now. Hey, Bill, good morning.
Hey, good morning. I'm going to bring some good news and tell you who's going to get soaked with some rain. So that's like, whoa, wait a second. You know, like that's kind of the opposite of what we've been talking about all summer long. So first things first, let's go back and continue to track what's left of Nicholas. We haven't had a lot, I don't even have any pictures to show you of any flooding from yesterday. So that's great news. I haven't heard any reports of any huge issues. So we still have areas of rain. There's still at least a threat of some tropical downpours from the system. That's why we still have a flash flood watch that's up. It does include New Orleans, through Biloxi, Mobile, right along I-10 for Panama City and Pensacola. 5 million people are included in this, and we'll get some afternoon downpours. There's no doubt about it. Isolated flash flooding is possible. The widespread 1 to 3 inches in addition to what you've already had on that saturated soil, maybe isolated up to 4. Again, I'm not overly concerned with any big damage from that. So we're still at the peak of hurricane season. We have some other areas of interest. The Hurricane Center calls these invest areas, areas that they're investigating. There's one just off the East Coast and a couple that are just off the coast of Africa. The good news with the ones off the coast of Africa, right now they're looking to stay over open water, not affecting any land areas in the next 5 to 7 days. And even the one off the East Coast, it may come a little close to the Outer Banks there in Cape Hatteras, but it should avoid the New England area as we head through the upcoming weekend. So it doesn't look like we're going to have any direct interactions with any tropical weather in the next 5 to 7 days. And that's a break. That's good. So for today, a few downpours from Nicholas on the Gulf Coast, a few showers in the Northeast. Middle of the country is warm. And here's the good news, guys, for tomorrow. Oh, wait, first, I got one more map. We do have severe weather possible today in areas of Minnesota and South Dakota. And now, finally, for the good news, welcome rain in the Northwest. That is going to be with us even into the upcoming weekend. So we'll talk more about that next hour. But we are very happy for the firefighters and all the people in the Northwest that have been so fearful of these blazes this summer. The first rainstorm is a big deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they need it. All right. Thank you, Bill.
Good to have some good news from you. Thanks, Bill.